Hi, everyone. It's Sunday, July 18th, 2021, and this is the preview for our upcoming agenda for our meeting of this Bend City Council on 7/21, so Wednesday of this week. So let's check it out. Let me get it going here. There we go. So you'll see obviously here at the top, let me get my banner up here so that we know where we're finding this. This is where you're going to find this agenda link. Obviously the information about how to join virtually for the public. And we're going to have a pretty epic work session for this meeting. We're starting at 4 p.m. So we're going to actually have 3 hours of time allotted to work session. A lot of that is going to be our quarterly update, which is going to talk about what's happened in the first quarter of this year. Actually, I think it'll be the second quarter now. And then also this says supplemental budget. We're going to be talking about updating our budget that we finalized earlier this year with some additional supplemental items, most of which are going to be funded by American Rescue Plan Act funds. So that's where that particular discussion is going to happen during our work session, I believe. Then a couple other things to highlight. Stevens Ranch, which you may have seen that a bill passed to move some land into our city over off of Stevens Road. So there's going to be a discussion about that area of town. Excited for this middle income housing presentation from Lynn McConnell, our affordable housing director. And also a follow-up as we requested at our June 2nd meeting on what happened at Emerson, how things went, and talking about future use or non-use of that policy that we created at that June 2nd meeting. So that should be a very good discussion as well. Then we get into our regular meeting. And I think one interesting item for the public is this number 3 good of the order, which is where we're going to be talking about the emergency declaration regarding the heat that allowed us to be a little more flexible in helping people in our city during the heat emergency, and also significantly ban the use of fireworks. And this emergency declaration has been extended, as you may have seen. So it was originally until July 9th, and then on July 8th, it was extended out through August. And the way our city government works is that our city manager's office has the authority to issue these types of emergency declarations. And then they come to council for what's called ratification. And basically we vote to say, yes, we agree with that emergency declaration, especially one that is still ongoing. So that's when we're going to be discussing that. And we're also, I think, going to be discussing whether we should continue to discuss a more permanent and longer term policy about fireworks sale and use in Bend. So if you're interested in that topic, this is where that's going to come up. And I think depending on what council decides as a whole, we may be having some future discussions about that topic as well. Then we'll move through the visitor section where people can give comment, and then into the consent agenda. A reminder that the consent agenda are items that we approve all at once that are fairly routine or do not rise to the level of needing a full discussion between council and staff. Any council member can say, hey, I actually want to discuss one of those and pull them out. But generally, we approve these as a group to be efficient. Then we'll get down into a couple of items in our regular meeting that we do have to have a public hearing on. One of them is this modification to the Easton Master Plan Development, which is a neighborhood down here in the southeast corner of Bend. They're asking for a modification of their previously approved master plan and to bring some additional acres of land into the city boundary as part of their development. So that's what we'll be talking about that. Then some sewer contract discussion. And then another couple of items having to do with Wilson Avenue Corridor Project. And I think this is also a topic that people might be interested in, about getting started with one of the key routes that's been identified in our GO bond, which the voters approved last year. So we're going to be having a good discussion about that corridor and how we're getting started on that project and what our Transportation Bond Oversight Committee is recommending, and also what our staff is recommending as far as how to go about this project. And I think we're going to hear that there are a lot of different issues that align on Wilson. There's not just the road and the intersections, like the intersection at 3rd or the intersection at 15th, which anyone who drives Wilson or rides on Wilson know are sort of some of the more painful points on that street, but also the key route for cyclists and we need some new water pipes along that corridor. So there's a lot of projects that need to kind of come together all at once, which is why you're seeing this different contracting method. So just to explain what this means is usually the way that cities look at a contracting project is say, okay, here's the project, here's what it is, send it out and have some contractors tell us, bid what they could construct this for, and then we just take the low bidder and go with them. And in this project, because of the complexity and the different sort of things that are going together along this corridor, the staff is asking us to authorize this construction manager general contractor process where we don't necessarily take the lowest bid, but try to find the best fit of who can manage and build this whole project in a way that's going to be efficient, that's going to be best for businesses and residences along that corridor, and it's going to get us to the end, the project that we want to see. So I just wanted to explain kind of what that meant as far as looking for a different contracting method for Wilson. And then council action and reports, and then sort of the end of the meeting. So that's what we've got. Again, pretty front-loaded work session with a lot of different pretty interesting topics. So if you can tune in or watch back our early work session, I think there'll be a lot of good discussion here between the councilors. And then again, the heat emergency up here and the good of the order. I think that's also a topic of high public interest as well. Just a reminder, you can always send your input to us prior to the meeting to this address. And we're actually working on ways to more efficiently and better understand sort of the trends of who is writing into the address and the topics people are writing us about so that we can take that input into consideration. Before I finished, I wanted to mention just a couple of things about wildfire. So just tonight, coming back to my house, I saw a large plume of smoke over the southeast of Bend, southeast of the corner where I live, which is the southeast corner of Bend, and learned that there is a fire that has broken out in that area. And I wanted to just let people know a couple of places to get information about fires. One really good place, let me share this up again, make it big, is Central Oregon Fire Info. And that is on Twitter is a really good place to look because this is where they can provide kind of quick updates. It's at Central OR Fire is the Twitter page here. And you can see, for instance, that they are alerting just an hour ago, they made this tweet about this fire that's occurring southeast of Boyd Cave and gives a location. And then they'll even update to talk about how big it is and which way it's moving. And then they'll link, for instance, this tweet just happened with press release with more information. So I just wanted to alert people to this Twitter page. And then there's also, I think, this really helpful wildfire map. So this is fireweatheravalanche.org/fire. And I'll put this link in the description and comments. And this is a place where you can actually see not just the large fires. So here you can see the Grandview fire. You can see my pointer up here north of Redmond. You can see down here in La Pine, this is the Darlene fire. If you go even further south, let's zoom out, you can see the huge bootleg fire that we've all been hearing about. But you can even see these little fire starts. And for instance, if you click on this little green one, it will show you this is the Swamp Wells Trail fire. Here it's active versus controlled, right? And you can get information about it there. I just found this website to be also very helpful when just people want some information about what's going on with fires in our area. So I'll finish by saying, obviously you can see just by looking at that map for just a second, this is not a good time to be careless with fire. We actually have a ban on open burns across the region that you may have heard about. Obviously no fireworks. And this is not the time to be careless with fire. This is a very serious and risky time for us and the entire state. So please, please be careful. Please talk to your neighbors about being careful. And hopefully we can get through this summer. It's already turning out to be a pretty hot wildfire season already. So thanks everybody for watching. Again, please feel free to send input to us before the meeting at this email address. And hopefully you can watch the meeting and watch your council do some work for your city. Thanks.